we are holding on Amud Kuf, page 100, paragraph beginning le-Khol. So, we're in the final mime of the hemshekh, and we've got through to more like the halfway point of this mime. I don't know if it's technically the halfway point, but halfway point in the inyanim, that the mime wants to figure out if the whole pshat of Shittif Iming Midas Harachmin is the way it says it at the end of Pokadato in the Va'ijay Shlema, the Pirush HaBeis, that there's going to be a Gilu Sheirish Umokira Malchus, and that's going to be Niskala Al Yedei Zoh. The question of this Maimah is, how practically does that happen? And if we broaden the question beyond Zon Malchus, and we talk about it in the context of Seivav Mamale, Sheirish Umokira Malchus is the Eirin Seif Habligable, the Eirin Seif, the Atmas Eirin Seif, broadly speaking, and Mamale is the Rakav, then there's a whole reason why there had to be a Tzimtzum Rishon. There's a whole reason why the Eirin Seif HaSeiv Kalam has to be Be'elim. That's how things function. And we spent a long time, till now, till the halfway point of this time, explaining exactly how the reality is that the Eirin Seif HaSeiv can't be Begilui. It has to be Be'elim. And you need to have the Eirin Seif HaMamale Kalamim to maintain the reality of existence. That's where we're at. So we're going to say that in La'asir Lavei, it's going to be Shittif Midas Harachamim. You can have the Gilu Eir HaSeiviv. Some seconds. Gilu Eir HaSeiviv, why do you need Mamale anymore? So if you're saying you need Mamale, then it's not, the whole point of Mamale is there shouldn't be a Gilu Eir HaSeiviv. The whole point of Mamale is to be Mailam U'Mastir on Seiviv. So how on earth is this all going to work? That's where we're at. The second half of the Maimah is going to focus on how this reality is going to transpire. But it's not just going to go and give you the answer. It's going to give you a little bit of a context of what we mean by La'asir Lavei. And it's going to get to the conclusion of its point on Amud Kufov. The point it's trying to make is going to conclude on Amud Kuf Vav. So we're going to have 2, possibly 3 shiurim till we get there. It's not easy. There's not some obvious stopping points. There's going to make this easy. I mean, ideally, I'd like to get today to the bottom of Kuf base, to Aflefiza. But we're going to stop in the middle of a point. Hopefully you'll be able to sleep. But, it's going to, till we get to the point.
Hope not.
Okay. So let's see what it has to say. I want to read from the Venimtza of the previous paragraph. Just so we can, because it's been a Shabbos, it's been a Shvat, it's been a Hefsek, and so we're flowing, and we've got the conclusion of the previous Nakuda. So the Nimtza, which is in the second line from the top of the page, 2 words in. The Nimtza, so from the above we can conclude the Bechinas Gilu Guf Metzias Anivroim Nis Bechinas Metzias Yesh Begilui, the way in which things exist. Even their Guf Metzias Anivroim. So we know the Guf Metzias Anivroim comes from Seivik Lavim. For something to exist, there has to be the Eirin Seif HaSeiv Lavim, because Hulavadehu B'keich V'yichel to Lahavitz Yesh Me'ayin. Only the Eibishter can create things. So Seivik Lavim, the Eirin Seif Atmas Muhus has to create things. But even that Guf Metzias Anivroim, in order for it to be a Metzias Yesh Begilui, and it shouldn't just be all Biskalus, Batzmusay, and bottled Metzias even. And more than that, then for it to have the plurality of its own existence, and it should be B'chinas Yesh. And the whole diversity that there is in existence. Who mibechinas malak alamim? All that comes from malak. Malak alamim makes it possible that there can be metzias hanivroim begilui. Shemei behem begilui b'kol echad yechad v'himadikosti, because the whole inyan of malak alamim is the facilitating the possibility of there being chayas and gilui and existence on their level, specific to each and everything. Taka b'tzimtzum, but taka different. The fact that a thing exists at all is because of soviv. And it's there everywhere, equally. So etzem chayas, it exists within everything, and it is the means by which anything can exist. But it's there, behelem. And it's equally everywhere. El yonim and tachtonim, there's no difference. There's no such thing as el yonim and tachtonim. Ela shu behelem. When it comes to save, everything's behelem. When it comes to malakalamim, it's the function of making sure everything is begilui. Okay, that's what we said last time. So now we're up to speed. This state of affairs is the way it is achshav, the way it is now. Where the primary and dominant feature of existence is the gilui of mamala. Canal. And soivev is, whilst it may be everywhere and everywhere equally, it's behalim. That's the nature of existence, as it is now. But when Mashiach's going to come, there's going to be the revelation of soivev by means of mamala. What does that mean? The fundamental reality and truth of all existence is going to be unplugged. It's going to be revealed. And it's going to be apparent. Even though there's going to be the whole multiplicity and diversity of existence, and within tachtoinim, all the multiple madrigas, all because of Mamalak Alamim, the whole infrastructure of Seder Shtalshlus as it is, because of Mamalak Alamim, is still going to be there. Within that whole diversity of existence, there's going to be the Gilu of Eira Seviv. Okay. That we know already, because that's what we said at the beginning. Right? But we don't know how. We still have our funny Eichi Tochin Hadover. How is it at all possible for such a thing to happen? If the whole reason why it had to be Behelim is because otherwise nothing would be Bischalkas. Nothing would be Matzias, it would be bottle Matzias. And even it wouldn't even be bottle Matzias because it wouldn't be a Matzias to start with, it would be Biskalas Bats Musay, the three reasons we gave why there can't be a Gilu Eira Seviv. Mitamol, Asilav, he's going to be able to be Gilu Seviv, and it's going to be through Mamala. So, how can you have a Gilu of something which transcends his Chalkus? It's Etzem. Being a scholar, Al Yidei is Chalkus, Al Yidei Mamala. Our original question is still strong, but we've got more of a framework to think about the question. The question has been enhanced for all the biur. It's not like we've just gone back to the beginning. It's not Hajjat Kusha Duchsa. We're now with our set. We really appreciate what would be the problem of a Gilu Eira Seviv. What we did in the last shtickle, the first half of the Maimah, we made it real. The problem of having a Gilu Eira Seviv. But we're still sticking by the reality that this claim that loss of lobby is that's how it's going to be. So we need to understand that, and that is going to be the focus now. And this is understood by way of the concept that is articulated in Razal, the ha'olam haba ein b'achilu shtia. That the olam haba, to reference to L'Asid Lavi, there will not be any eating or drinking. Okay? What's the pshat? V'aynu shelo yiyu oz achilu ushtia gashmis klal. There will not be any physical eating or drinking at all. Okay, I'm going to give you a range of ideas associated with this. This is, the Rebbe, there's a very geschmacka letter, the Rebbe, that's printed in Kovetz Lubavitch. It's from before the Messias, which Mamish and Arich is all about this type of stuff. And the Rebbe the Rebbe suggests that he thinks that there will be eating and drinking. Just it won't be Tevis Mokim. It's a complicated sugya. If you look in the footnote, the Likutei Sichos Chelik Lamed Tes, Amud 441. That's where you need to look, and over there it's assigned to the Igros Kodesh Chelik base, the letter there in Kovetz Lubavitch, where you have the arichas. It's worth getting a handle a little bit on the sugya that it's talking about here. In any case, we're learning it in Ranat. So Ranat state, there won't be any eating or drinking. Without eating and drinking, you're not going to have to eat or drink, but yet the body, the physical body, with all of its limbs, will live and be maintained. That there's going to be, according to the Ramban, Asid Lavi is going to be a world in which going to be neshamis begufim, and as normal human beings, as we understand it, we appreciate it now. So all the things that we're familiar with, a nefesh achyonis, just a biological soul, the being alive. You're going to feel yourself to be alive as a human being. You're not going to be heder hergish. You're not going to not notice that you're a functioning organism that we understand it to be like it is now. It's going to be the same. Allah, she calls it yema. But this ability to be alive and to be magish you're alive, to acknowledge that you're alive, is not going to come from eating and drinking. A person fasts and everything, they feel shvach, and then they eat, and then they feel they've got chazar zachais, or they wake up in the morning and they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're parched, they need to eat or drink. So there's modes nowadays where you notice where there's a heder achayis, you're not magish the chayis, and you can eat and drink, and then you feel everything works out fine. Nasa damu basa kipsare, and the food becomes damu basa kipsare, and you feel alive. Certain foods make you feel alive in different ways. Caffeine, different stimulants, different nutrients make you feel alive. Asid Lavi, you're going to have the same experience, but it won't be from eating and drinking. It'll be from the Chai Eir Aliki. That's the pshat of Asid Lavi. Elam haba ein b'achil shtia. This is extremely surprising. Sheyia guf gashmi v'nefesh achyonis chayomim v'kayomim b'li achil shtia. Because it's much easier to take. If you're going to say you don't need to have eating and drinking, which means you're going to say this bichlal is a ruchnistika world, why do you need the guf bichlal? Just like the Rambam says, just be a neshama. Neshamas b'li gufim. You want to have a guf, nefesh achyonis, you want to be alive and have all of the complexities of a body, and at the same time you don't need eating and drinking. Bizarre. Yeah? Seems rather bizarre. So he's going to explain why this is so bizarre. Because the Ika Kiyum HaNefesh HaRuchni shehu nefesh hativi v'habahamis lahachis aguf liyis chai misnaneya hu al yidei achila davka. In order to be alive, the main way that a person stays alive is by eating. Obviously, breathing. And, if you don't breathe, you're also not going to live very long. But within a short time, a person starves themselves, they're going to die. A person maintains their existence. It's a daily activity. You have to feed yourself, and otherwise you won't be alive. In order to be alive, to have a functioning body, which means to have a functioning, which obviously is together, and it means the nefesh bahamis is a living thing in itself. Nefesh achienis, to my nefesh. But the nefesh to be mechuba with the guf, in order for that project to last, there has to be food. You have to eat. Ki nefesh achiyoni hu chayis ruchni adayin. The nefesh achiyoni can't keep your body alive by itself. It's ruchni. Umuvdel adayin me'agashmi. It's completely separate from gashmis. Doesn't, a ruchnistic thing is going to keep up a gashmistic thing. We know a ruchnistic thing can't keep a gashmis thing together. But eich yishrav yislabish be'evid yaguf hagashmis lach yisum. So how is it going to enliven the physical body? So there's a whole system that there's these that from the blood, which is in the limbs. This is the connecting point, Adam wa nefesh, right? The dam has this sort of ability to be a mamutza, to be able to connect the nefesh achienis, nefesh bahamis, with the gufa adam. Ukiyudua, sheyesh ba'adam min koyach hachamimus shemimenu yitzim ha'idim. It's known that the blood has this sort of, the physiology of this, I'm not going to be ma'irich on about, you can look up the book we have about blood, but it has this chamimus, from which goes out this sort of what he calls idim,
veins, no? When it's hot, the veins pop out.
This quality in the blood that allows it to be a mumutza is enhanced when the blood is warmer. Like you see when a person is sick, chas v'shalom, with a fever. So I'm not sure what the example is giving here from a fever. So what are these idim? The idim seems to be the thing in which the nefesh is able to be sheira, nefesh achienis, nefesh bahamis, in the guf. Ki idim hu adakus v'haruchnis yetz mi'adam. Idim are these, is a sort of the
arteries?
No.
Okay.
Idim is a sort of the blood itself is the blood, and you've got the idim of the blood. And what it might be in the physiology, I don't know.
Blood cells.
It's the most edler part of the body. It's the ruchnius of the gashmis.
It's like the evaporation of the blood.
Yeah.
It gets hot then. That's like.
Yeah, it's like it is that type of thing. It's like it's a non. What exactly it is, I don't know.
Anyway.
If you want me to do the research,
let's not dwell on this. Yeah.
Okay, I can do the research for you if you want another time. But
sounds wonderful.
The Weiler will leave it at this. Shehu kli lenefesh achim. Shehu bechinas gashmis sheberuchnis. For ribo edim sha'idim sadachamimus liyes shehen gasim. Einam kelim lenefesh aruchnis. The problem is when a person has a fever, there's too much idim. They become not suited to be a keli for the nefesh. It's like v'hinei halev u'mokim mishkan adamim shekol evrim. The heart is
the epicenter
of the blood for all of the limbs. From the heart, the blood is pumped to the entirety of the body. Kiddush ish believe base chalolim, like we know in the heart there are two ventricles. Echot shebei nichnosim adamim, one in which the blood enters, v'abeishim menu yotzim le-Khol ivrim, and the other in which the blood exits and disseminates to the rest of the body. V'lachin ikka mishka nefesh achiyoni hu gam kim believe. So since the nefesh achiyoni, the ashra, the nefesh achiyoni is in the dam, so you understand the ikka mokim mishkan and dam is in the leiv, then the ikka mokim mishkan and nefesh is also in the leiv. Tainu b'seich hagidim hayotzim mi'adamim she'ikka mishkanim hu believe. So from the leiv, where the ikka chayas is mispashit to the whole body. Through the blood, which disseminates to the rest of the body. Each and every limb, according to its needs. Now, it's known that the blood of the limbs are reduced bit by bit by their very nature until they become they expire. Were there to be a reduction of blood entirely, there'd be a reduction and an expiration of the chayas too, because the blood is the vehicle for the chayas. And if the blood is restricted, then the chayas is restricted. Because they're completely dependent on each other. And therefore, in order to maintain a healthy body, a person has to eat. Because it's from the food the blood is produced in the liver. After the food is refined and digested in the stomach, the psalus, the residue of the food that is of no use, is excreted, and from the nutrients from the food, blood is produced in the liver. And then there's a further biru, a further refinement of the blood, and the desirable blood, the refined blood, goes to the heart. And then from the heart it goes to the whole body. And that is where the keach, or the nefesh bahamis, is able to attach itself to the body and give chayas to the body. So the more blood, the more chayas. So by food, the more food you have, the more chayas you have. Obviously within reason, relative to what the body needs. Yeah? You accept the physiology as is? Good. The alkane. If you don't eat, you can't live. Because as soon as you stop eating, you're going to stop producing blood. And when there's no blood, there's no chayas nefesh, because the nefesh achienis is not able to attach itself to the body except through the blood. Not just the nefesh achienis and abahamis, the other nefesh. We don't just have a nefesh achienis, not a nefesh bahamis, not just a biological soul. We have the intellectual soul, which is even more unlikely and incapable of having a relationship with Gashmias, because it's more ruchniistic. You're not going to have the capacity of the nefesh achsichlis without eating. It's a chain reaction. How do you have a nefesh asichlis being sheira in your moyach? Because you have a nefesh of ahamis achiyonis, which is sheira in your leif. So if you have a reduction of blood because of your lack of eating, you're going to have a reduction or a cause for your nefesh achiyonis to not be capable of being in your body, and that in turn is going to impact your ability for your nefesh asichlis in your body. Once your nefesh habahamis achionis is able to be in your body, then everything can ride on its back. But if that is already, if that becomes unstable, then everything becomes unstable. All of those, if you're not able to maintain your biological soul, has nowhere to attach itself to the body, you also lose the nefesh hasichli too. And furthermore, when it comes to nefesh halikis, that ultimately is the ikar achayis of a Jew. How is the nefesh halikis mislabish in the body? By mislabish nefesh hasichlis. And the nefesh hasichlis, how is it mislabish in the body? Because of the nefesh habahamis. So if you have a reduction or you're destroying the possibility for the nefesh habahamis to be mislabish in the guf, it by chain reaction impacts nefesh hasichlis, and by chain reaction, by virtue, then also the nefesh halikis. Because it's any sherikim emsois mislabish nefesh hasichlis, shesherim mislabish by nefesh achiyeni, shesherim mislabish by yedim chuli. Ukiyudu, like it's known, like it's known that every single Jew has 3 nefashis. Most of you learned Tanya. In Tanya it says the grace of Shturim shtei nefashis. If you learn Tanya properly, you know that it's also being merames over there, that there's gimel nefashis. And if you've learned Abyssal Chassidus, you also know that it's much more complicated than that. The Takir Gimel Nefesh is Nefesh HaSichlis, not just Nefesh HaBahamis, Nefesh HaLikis. As the Rebbe Rashab says, Agam Shlikutei Amonis Grad Beis Nefashis only mentions explicitly the Beis Nefashis, but Emes Hen Gimel. The reality is that there are Gimel Nefashis, HaBahamis, HaSichlis, Ba'alikis. Nefesh HaLikis, V'Nefesh HaSichlis, V'Nefesh HaChienis. And what the nefesh hasichlis functions is this is the mumutza. This is the real. It's like the human consciousness, which we experience as the human consciousness is what decides. When it's the whole machlekes, 2 things are fighting over the body, and who's machriya? Who is the person who is under discussion? The person under discussion is the nefesh hasichlis. Okay, look over there, you'll find out a little bit more. And of course, the Chayv Adam. Chayv Adam, yeah, Tavshin Beis.
I never Adam Matalam. Chaviv Adam.
Chaviv Adam, sorry. Chaviv Adam, Tavshin Beis. And Tavshin Aleph also shtickle. There's a Chaviv Adam too. They're both good intros to this concept. But Kulam is Labshin Bezez. Each one is Labshin each other. So everything hanged up, everything depends on the ability for the nefesh habahamis to be able to mislabish in the body. The nefesh habahamis achyonis can only mislabish in the body if there's blood. Where is there blood? If people eat. Umikol them moving. She'ik kiyim v'chayis nefesh bichloli b'haguf gama nefesh alikis totally b'achila. Everything depends on eating. It's remarkable. And then you have all the chassidus about the Maila, the Doimim and the Chai, and the Semech and the Chai, that can give Chayas to a person. Right? It shows that it's Sheirish Elyon of the Madrigas of Semech and Chai, that they're able to give Chayas to a person. How they so, yeah. Well, Lechem Levad Yichadam Kalbi Mesa Avai Yichadam. Kollega B'Yesi, Yirmata B'Yesi, all those in Yom. Because they're moving. Yeah, it's all about chila. Sha'idei ze misrabe hadamim, shebo idim hadakim hayitzim mehem mislabish hanefesh achiyoni, uveseich mislabish hanefesh asichli, uveseich mislabish hanefesh aliki. Okay. So this is why the chayil yipol adov is emayit. Osid lavei, there's going to be a gufa gashmi. All of the and when we say it's going to be a gufa gashmi, you mean there's going to be blood, it's going to be all these things. Everything depends on it. When we say there's not going to be any eating. How on earth is nefesh habahamis Nefesh Achiyoni is going to be able to be attached to the body without it. It's Chayes Leki from Ruchnius. The whole problem is that Ruchnius struggles to have a Shaykhus to Gashmius. So you have this system whereby the blood, it can be fa'edel, it can be oiske edelt, and it can be a little bit of a mutza, a chibur, with the nefesh of Bahamas. So the blood is going to be developed by a leki. What's going to happen? How is it all going to exactly? Is it going to function? So va'acha kol zeh yipole masha amro ilam haba im ba'achil shtia. Halagam oz yu gufim gashmim b'chol prati averem. We're still going to have physical bodies. Uvasechem damim gashmim mamish. We're going to have human blood, physical blood. Kasher muchim masha karbonis leispat los love. We see that in animals, there's going to be karbonis los lovis. There's going to for sure be blood. You can say, oh, human beings without blood. I mean, we're going to create. What is the? Are we just going to make it up as we go along? No, there's going to be humans. There's going to be blood. We're going to have carbonis. It means that animals are going to have blood. We're also animals. We're a form of animals. We also have blood. When it says there's not going to be carbonis lost love except for carbon data, it's not carbonis yachid. Ava carbonis sibu, you lost it gamkin. There's going to be carbonis sibu. Over carbonis yachid, you carbon data lost it. And from the carbon, at least from the carbonis yachid, there's going to be a carbon data. So the neida inyan carbonis, shu inyan alois dama behimo. The whole inyan of carbonis is the elevation of the blood, the sprinkling of the blood in the various parts of the mizbeach. Which that is the nefesh achionis, the biological soul of the animal. Agabe mizbeach. Shubechinas malchus tatzilus. The mizbeach is malchus tatzilus, and then you have the alois adam. Okay, that's the whole chassidus of karbonis. Ukudugmas hakarbonis agabe mizbeach. Murchuli is gamkin b'chol nefesh miso b'frat ba'avidu shebelev zu tefillah. Shnikrim mizbeach la'alois oz b'chinas dama nefesh achionis shebei. Obviously, the whole reason we bring karbonis is we're mocking ourselves. It's as if we're being makriv ourselves. There has to be the kavana, and so, the human being, the avodas Hashem is in davening. It's called a mizbeach, and they also elevate the nefesh achiyinus, the bahamis, the dam, all of the ideology of blood and its function and its role is going to also be relevant nasilavi. So what's mitamol? How are you going to keep producing this blood without eating? What is the system? So we're convinced there's going to be blood from the behemoths, from ourselves. So we don't understand how can a human being survive without food. The way we've explained it above is the way we understand things is the manner in which a nefesh is able to be attached to a body is through the blood, and the blood is able to be produced through eating. So what's the pshat? Yeah. So the explanation of this is as follows. The masha hanefesh mechayes aguf al yidei emtsois achila kanal kol zeu achshav. This system of maintaining a healthy body, of maintaining the kesher of your nefesh, all three of them, bahamis, sichlis, and elikis, through food, is only a description of how things function now. Shachayis, why? Why is it changing? What's changing exactly? Shachayis u'bechinas mamala. We've explained at length in the first half of the Maimah that the way everything functions and exists is through the gilui of mamala. Seiviv is there for you have to exist. To exist at all, there has to be seiviv, but it's behalam. And all of the complexity and individuality of existence is a result of mamala. But the real chayas, the real true mainstay of everything's existence, hu bechinas helam behem. Everything is behem, as we explained above, right? The gam ha'odim amalem mailem u'master al keach haseviv, and more than just the keach haseviv is itself behelem, because it's from the helam atzmi, it's the teva behelem, because it's an Indian atzmi called etzim bilti miskala. The eir haseviv, the eir mamale is itself conceals it. Chol gilu achayis u'muchinas mamale davka, and the entirety of a person's perceptible existence is from mamale. So what is it? When the chayis is from mamale, everything has to be because that is it. That is mamale. Mamale recognizes elyon and tachton. There's a seder. What's the seder? Yeah, everyone has three nefashis, and the nefesh alikis is the koyach elyon. The nefesh bahamis is the koyach tachton, and the nefesh asichlis is the momutzu beinayim. But Tokhleh is bebechinas eir bekli davka. Everything has to be mit a seder. Can't just have all those three things somehow not being in their right place. Everything has to be in its right place. Mishkan nefesh asichlis is in the moyach, and also the nefesh likis. Mishkan nefesh bahamis in the leiv. It's a seder, right? And everything is oir bekli. And everything has to be a kli which can be sovel that way. So the leiv is able to be is a kli for the nefesh bahamis. The moyach is a kli for the nefesh asichlis, and through it the nefesh likis too. When we made it is kli shetuchul lekabel as oir. Because it's nefesh likis is sheir mislavish ba nefesh asichlis davka. That nefesh asichli yesi ruchni haru kli sheshishur b'seich nefesh likis. The kamzel lefi sherak habechina hatachtonis nefesh likis nimshach mei lachi yischuli. So nefesh asichlis is a suitable kli in the moyach for the nefesh likis, because the nefesh asichlis is itself ruchniistic. And at the same time, which part of the nefesh likis is mislabish in the guf, only the madriga tachtoina. So it's they can come bechibur. Kikachu say dam shachas achayis to mamale, and that's how mamale works. Rak bechinas eimet tzumtzum shu bechinas hatachtoina shaboy nimshach liyos lachis es shlamat mimenu. Everything works the seder. The eir elyon is nishtalshul betzimtzum, and the madriga tachtoina is nisamtzim to the madriga tachtoina. Yeah. So kozma achshav, how do things work? The nefesh likis is mislab, that madriga tachtoina shaboy is mislabish in the nefesh sichlis, which is mislabish in the meich shabareish. Al yidei, the fact that there is a nefesh bahamis which is machai, which allows there to be a meich bichlal. Ulbechina zu a nefesh asichli hu kli lekabla eid b'sichli. So nefesh asichli becomes a keli for the nefesh likis. Va nefesh asichli, this is the seder. Va nefesh asichli sheidu mislabish ba nefesh achiyeni. Yes, gam kin ruchni adayin. How you kli the nefesh asichli? So how's the nefesh asichli? How does it have a shaykhus to the body? It has it al yadei, the next madriga, the madriga tachtoina, the nefesh bahamis. A nefesh machayis aguf al yadei emsoisa idin davka. And how is this nefesh achienis abahamis b'chay the guf? Through the blood. The dakim ruchnim, the refined, the able, the ruchni, the more ruchnistic. So b'chinas ruchni shebegashmis. So there's a klisha b'seich sheidim mislabish nefesh achienis. All of these are madrigas, right? The nefesh likis can't be mislabish in the dam. It's aratzmi. It's bein arich. Has to be a seder. Tzimtzum and halamayin. Till it can be mislabish in the kiva. Aydeza chay aguf shu kli lahadam. The body, which is itself a keli for the blood, can then be alive. So you have multiple kelim. Start with the kli aguf, which is a kli to the dam, and the dam is a kli to the nefesh achienis abahamis. Nefesh Achinis Bahamis is a kli to the Nefesh Asichlis, and Nefesh Asichlis is a kli to the Nefesh Likis. Eiris and Kena, all the way through. Typical Seder of Mamala. A world that is governed by the inyan of Mamala. Yeah? And that's why you need to eat. Because if you lose the Kli Haguf to the dam can't be a Kli to the Nefesh Achienis Abahamis. Nefesh Achienis Abahamis can't be a Kli to the Nefesh Asichlis. Nefesh Asichlis can't be a Kli to Nefesh Likis. So you have to eat Shisrabu Adamim in order to make more blood. And then the whole system can be held up together. But that's all now. When Mamala, the Seder of Mamala, the Seder of Elyin and Tachtin, the Seder of Eibekli is dominant. But Etzem Achai is the Seder of Helam. And the core foundation of all of existence, Eira Seivev, is Behelim. That's why everything has to be functioning this way. That's why you have to eat. That's why eating is significant. Avol Osid, when Mashiach wird kommen, gam beginnes Mamala yenichlo bein Seiva Seivev. Then Mamala is going to get all caught up in the reality of Seivev. This is a key line. The inyan is skallus. What do we mean by skallus? Inyan is skallus or inyan habitul. Mamala is going to be nispatel before Seiviv. Shlo yalim v'yasel ein seiv ha-seiviv. It's going to be sober bittul. It's no longer going to be ma'alim u'masti on Seiviv. Adarabah al yidei mamala yiyagilu b'chinas ein seiv ha-seiviv. The whole thing we've been trumpeting the whole time, right? From the end of Pakadata. This is what we've been saying is going to be happening. There we said it's going to be Gilu Sheirushim Erkam Alchos Ayidei Zah. Then we advanced it in the beginning of this Maimon and we said it's going to be Gilu Eira Seiv Al Yidei Mamala. So that's what's going to be. We're just repeating that. Still haven't explained how it's going to be possible. It's all this. We're describing it within the context of La'asid Lavi, as it's described in Ein Bayachil Shtiyah. But don't fool yourself. You understand what we're talking about. We still don't know how. But we're giving it more substance now. So the Eiram Mal is going to be Nichlol be'ein seif ha-seiv. It says Nichlol. What's inyan of Nichlol? Skallus is inyan habitul. Okay, clock that. I'm going to use that to take us a bit further, to give us a means by which to appreciate this concept. We're asking ourselves to understand something which is incomprehensible. So you have to work hard. The reality, the dominant reality of all of existence is going to be the Gilu of Eira Seivev Al Yidei Mamala. So once you've sort of changed the premise of existence. The premise of existence, when Mamal Bizman Hazeh Achshav is in Mamala, where there's a Seder of Elyin and Tachtin, everything has to be Eirikli, comes along, La'asid Lavi, it's not going to be like that. The dominant idea, the dominant force, the dominant reality of existence is going to be Eira Seiviv. In Kenya, Guf Chai, how is a person going to be alive? You ask someone now, how is a person alive? Person, if it's from a person, they're going to say they have a neshama. Everyone's going to, even if someone says it's a neshama, someone who believes in neshamas. Let's say they don't believe in neshamas. Call it something else. Chayas. Everyone believes that one has chayas, right? One's alive. One has a ruach chayim. Some people call that ruchnistic thing. Some people say it's just the reality of the physiology of the body. But what's is on its own? Everyone agrees you have to eat. Without eating, there won't be any ruach chayim. Nachon? Because that is the means by which anyone has to exist. Even according to a Malak Kalamim, you have to have that. But in Seiviv Kalamim, what is Seiviv? Seiviv is the Eirin Seif Shlifnei HaTzimtzum. Atzmus Muhus Ein Seif Baruch Hu. Hu levade bekevi yichilti lehavi yesh me'ayin. It is the means by which it's possible for anything and everything to exist. All of a sudden, la'asid lavi, it's going to be niskala. That how does everything exist? Why do you think? How does everything exist now? Because everyone eats. How's everyone alive? Because everyone eats. Right? That's the source of. Now here you can have a little bit of a tifa there. You don't live. You're not alive because you eat. Eating is just a cause. Is not the reason why you're alive. You're alive because you have a functioning blood system. That's the next level. How do you have a functioning blood system? Because you eat. But tifa madrege, your blood is able to be a keli for your nefesh bahamis, and your nefesh bahamis is a keli for your nefesh sichlis, and your nefesh sichlis is a keli for your nefesh lekis. But that's how you exist. All of a sudden, Asid love is going to not be that. It's not. You're not going to. Not the reason. You don't live. You're not alive because of any of these things. You're alive because Atzmas Eirin Seif makes you alive. That's why you're alive. Imkein Yaguf Chai mi Etzem Achaya Shaloi Shu Bechinas Koyach HaSeiviv Shenimsa Boi Mamish Gam Ato. It's not like there's no chidush. You're alive now also because of Eirin Seif HaSeiv Kalamim. You're alive now because of Atzmas Eirin Seif Baruch Hu Lavade Bekeich V'Yichot L'Havas Yesh Mi Ayin Tomid Machadish B'tu B'Chol Yom Tomid. He makes you exist every single moment, but it's Behelim. Because at the moment, if it wouldn't be Behelim, you would cease to exist. But Lasid Lavi, it's going to be Begili, and you will exist. But it's with you now, Elashu Behelim. Asid Yoy Boy Begilu Mamish. Shemizeh Yechai. It's how you're going to be alive. So it answers the question. If you're alive, if your chayas is dependent on Seiviv, the Seiviv need, for Seiviv to be in your body, does it need blood? For blood to be in your body, it needs Seiviv. It's the other way around. Once you have a gilu of Eira Seiviv, then it's nothing's dependent on. The only thing it's dependent on is Seiviv. That is the reality. That's its reality. So once you have that, you don't need to eat. You're alive because the reality of your existence is determined by Seiviv Kalamim. It's not Behelim anymore. It's not being Behelim but Tzimtzum like by Mamala Kalamim, like it was till now. So instead of the Nefesh Baham is saying, how am I going to attach myself to this Dova Gashmi, which until now I needed there to be this sort of edler blood for me to attach myself to. I don't need that. Everything is, you don't need to say, you don't need to have this union of Seder. You need to be Mamala Kalam, Eid Bekli. Seiviv determines everything. Everything is alive with the same reality. The body is alive because of Seiviv. The Nefesh Bahamis is alive because of Seiviv. Everything's alive because of Seiviv. So they have a lot in common. According to Mamala, there's nothing in common between a Nefesh and a Guf. A Guf is a Madrega Tachtoina, and a Nefesh is a Madrega Elyoina. Api Seidei Shtalshlis, they have nothing to do with each other. But once you Megala Eiras Seiviv, you realize there's no difference between Ruchnias and Gashmias. Why should the Nefesh Bahamis not be able to be mislapish in the Guf? The Eir and Seva Seir Kalamim is Bahashva Mamish in your Guf and in your Nefesh. So once you get over your hang-ups about being an Elyon, I'm a Hicha Mensch, right? The Nefesh has no problem now with the Guf. The Mamish the same. Because the Gilu Eira Seiviv. Seiviv is mevatel those mechitzas between Gashmis and Ruchnis. Because it's Bashva Mamish in the whole of Seidish Talshmas. So Kumaya Nefesh gives a Nefesh Asich and Nefesh Achieni Kulam Yu Chaim Bechinas Ein Sev Asif Mamish Shu Etzem Achai Shalahem. Just like it's the Etzem Achayis of the Guf, it's the Etzem Achayis of the Nefashis too. Bechinas Zu Ein Eshayach Eibekli. You mean Eibekli? Oir bekli means that the oir is an elyon and the kli is a tachting. Comes along here as Eiviv. In order for there to be oir, in order for there to be kli, you have to have seif. You have to have the oir and seif. Atmos amuhos shehula v'adu bekevi yichot lahavet yesh ma'ayin. The oir is also a yesh. Everything after Seder, everything after the Tzimtzum is a yesh. The bechinas haseif ein shaykh inyan ha'erech klal. There's none of this notion of relationality and relativity of one thing to another. You don't need this whole structure of making the madriga tachtoina kli, so then there can be a kli to the next eir, and that eir can be a kli to the next eir, and that can be... No, you don't need it. Everything is bashval mamish. There's no erech. No elyon, there's no tachtin. Eir and seif ha-sefer klam is mevatel all of that. Once you have a gilu eir ha-sefer. Yeah? Okay. We've just articulated in a much more elaborate fashion the same nakuda we've been saying all along. But till now, the eir and seif ha-sefer is behalim, and the eir and is begilui, and the osid lovely, the eir and seif ha-sefer is going to be begilui. But we added this interesting fact that Mamala is going to be Nichlol, and what is the inyan of Iskalulus? The inyan of Bittul. Because you can think, when you think of Iskalulus, right, you could think that the Taich Iskalulus is the sort of the obliteration of something. Comes Nichlol and that thing gets lost. It's no longer a function. It no longer has its own independent function. It's nichlol. You incorporate something in something else. It has no control. It's as if it ceases to be. It's nichlol. It's included within it, right? So he says, "Klor inyan iskalus inyan abitul." When we say iskalus here, we don't want to think of it in that sense. The Eiram Amala is still going to be there, as we're going to see, and that's going to be the whole point of the answer, that we're still going to have a functioning mamala, because that was the whole question at the beginning. Why do you need yichud sefer mamala? Why do you still need to? Oh, because you need gilui. We've just said that Eiram sefer is going to be begilui. Why do you need mamala anymore? You're going to need mamala because it's only going to be begilui because of mamala. Without mamala, it wouldn't be begilui. But we haven't got to the answer yet. We're only halfway through the point it's trying to make, so we're going to make a stop here. And maybe let's stop here, and because this next paragraph is still within this path point. We probably would have been better to stop that by the next paragraph on the dime. It might be good because it'll give us a better flow when we start next time. Let's stop there.